Live from the studios of NBC 12 and ABC 25, this is First Coast News at 11.
7 years, 357 days ago, President Barack Obama took office.
I, Barack Hussein Obama, do solemnly swear.
And tonight, in his final speech, he bids farewell to the nation.
It has been the honor of my life to serve you. I won't stop. In fact, I will be right there with you as a citizen for all my remaining days.
We've got the 3 big takeaways from his address. Plus, meet the local man playing a key role in President-elect Donald Trump's historic inauguration. First Coast News at 11 starts now. Tonight, President Barack Obama addressed our country for the final time as Commander-in-Chief. Good evening, I'm Anthony Austin.
And I'm Heather Crawford. We're glad you're with us tonight. President Obama delivered those remarks this evening in his hometown of Chicago in front of a huge crowd of about 20,000 people.
And you know, Heather, they stood in the bitter cold temperatures for hours just to get a ticket. And here are some of the biggest moments tonight.
I'm asking you to believe, not in my ability to bring about change, but in yours. I'm asking you to hold fast to that faith written into our founding documents, that idea whispered by slaves and abolitionists, that spirit sung by immigrants and homesteaders and those who marched for justice, that creed reaffirmed by those who planted flags from foreign battlefields to the surface of the moon, a creed at the core of every American whose story is not yet written. Yes, we can. Yes, we did. Yes, we can. Thank you. God bless you. May God continue to bless the United States of America. Thank you.
So if you were watching tonight, you know the president highlighted America's progression over the past 8 years, including bouncing back from the Great Recession, rebooting the auto industry, marriage equality, and taking down Osama bin Laden. Another big thing that a lot of you are talking about, Sasha Obama was noticeably absent at the farewell speech tonight. She wasn't on stage for the closing of the speech or in the audience. No word yet just exactly where she was.
Now, President Obama has visited the First Coast 10 times since 2007, and his most recent visit was just this past weekend. He was in town for a wedding in Avondale where he was a groomsman. The president declared victory here in Florida in 2008 and also in 2012, garnering about 51% of the vote. Now, tonight, voters here on the First Coast are reflecting on President Obama's legacy. And we've asked you on Facebook, how would you grade his performance over the last 8 years? And the reaction, as you might imagine, they're strong and there's mixed reaction, and some of it very harsh. So here is some of what you had to say. Angela gives President Obama an A, saying history will show this someday. And this from Tara, who says F. I think he had a perfect chance to unite this country and he blew it. Jay says he brought such class, poise, and life to our nation in the White House. He and Michelle alike. Absolute definition of class and going high when they go low. Gonna miss them for sure. Ann says, I don't think he stood a chance to get this really done. I appreciate his effort. I like him a lot. And finally, this from Chad, who says the community organizer-in-chief cannot leave soon enough. 8 years wasted time. Time to drain the swamp. And you can let us know what you think on the First Coast News Facebook page.
And as we say goodbye to one president, we welcome a new one. President-elect Donald Trump will officially become the new commander-in-chief in about 10 days in a historic ceremony. As First Coast News reporter Honey Rodriguez shows us, it will also be a memorable day for one St. Augustine man who was not only invited, but Honey, he was also asked to serve.
That's right, Anthony. In just 10 days, we'll have a new president. The inauguration is set to take place January 20th, and there are thousands of volunteers who make that event happen. We spoke to one volunteer. His name is Derek Hankerson, who lives in St. Augustine. He's actually getting ready to leave to D.C. this weekend. He tells me it's an opportunity like no other.
I'm blessed and humbled that I'm presented with that opportunity, and also blessed and humbled to have had an opportunity to work for Mr. Trump.
Derek Hankerson is counting down the days until Inauguration Day, January 20th, the day Donald Trump will assume the role of Chief Executive of the United States.
This is the first time in my lifetime that I've seen a businessman, a non-politician, become president of the United States.
But that isn't the only first for Hankerson. At his home in St. Augustine, he shared the driving force behind his dreams and aspirations, his parents.
And this is the first time in my life that they are not here.
Hankerson's mother passed away in September during the presidential campaign.
My brother had sent me a tweet the other day of something that happened, and he said my parents would be very proud of me.
Proud, and for Hankerson, honored.
I would have never imagined that when I stepped foot on the University of Maryland campus at 17 years old and took my first class.
He says he's not nervous yet, but he will be once he's there. He also told me that he will be working on public events while he's in D.C. Back to you guys.
Honey Rodriguez with that story for us tonight. Honey, thank you. A Flagler County band will also be at this year's inauguration representing Florida. The Coastal Florida Police Fire and Pipes and Drums band will perform. It was one of 4 bands across the country chosen to play. Now, this trip to D.C., it will be costly. They've started a GoFundMe page hoping to raise $40,000 before they leave. They're still about $6,000 short. So if you would like to donate, if you would like to help out, we have a link on our website, firstcoastnews.com.
For the first time in 2017, the public got a chance tonight to voice their opinions on a revived human rights ordinance bill. Now, this new bill promises to expand protections for the LGBT community. And as you might imagine, it has people split right down the middle. Stephen Dial is live outside City Hall tonight. Stephen, I know it was a packed house there this evening. What happened?
Heather, this issue is not a I'm on the fence issue to residents here in Jacksonville. Either you're for an HRO extension or you're against it. It was a packed meeting here in Jacksonville at the City Hall meeting, their first meeting of 2017. More than 100 people signed up to talk about their opinion as to what they think City Council should do. Now, if you've lived in Jacksonville for a while, you know that this was nothing new. It was arguably the largest government issue story last year of 2016. There were numerous public forums by Mayor Chari. In the end, nothing happened other than the mayor extending LGBT rights for city employees, including JSO officers, but nothing else done. So Tommy Azuri, former mayor, now councilman, and some other council members are bringing it back up into the public eye. Things not really changing. Churches are still exempt, schools are exempt. There is something new with small businesses being exempt if you have 15 or fewer employees. Also, the bathroom part, which is a big, heavily debated issue, not much change to that, but we talked to several people tonight and they gave their opinion.
We would love to stay here and live here, and if this passes, that will be certainly one more check off that we have that will help us to make that decision to stay here and make this our forever home.
If it is not needed, we don't have as straight people the same rights that are in this bill. So someone could, at a business or public accommodation, could say, oh, well, since you're gay, you can't get hired, but they can do the same thing to the straight person.
This is only the beginning of another year talking about the HRO. There will be another public comment in 2 weeks when City Council meets. Now, this was also the first meeting of the year, so it was a full agenda. A couple of hot button and key things to look out for. Jacksonville Beach Pier that was heavily damaged during Hurricane Matthew. Funding has been approved for it to the tune of a couple of $100,000. And also ShotSpotter. We were the first station to tell you about the city wanting to bring sensors that can detect gunfire that would automatically alert dispatch when a shot is heard in the area in high crime areas. The city is thinking about investing over $1 million. It was up for public comment today. No one talked about it, so we'll continue to follow that part of the story and let you know when City Council possibly approves funding for that. Reporting live from City Hall, Stephen Dial, First Coast News.
Sentenced to death after deliberating for only 3 hours today, a jury unanimously decided on the death penalty for Dylan Roof. He murdered 9 black church members during a Bible study back in 2015 in Charleston, South Carolina. During sentencing, Roof represented himself. He told jurors he did not have a mental illness. He also did not offer any remorse or ask for his life to be spared. He's the first person to ever get the death penalty for federal hate crimes.
There are still a lot of questions tonight after a 16-year-old boy went missing in Ponte Vedra. The story is really bizarre. After several hours and an Amber Alert, Marcus Hatch was found safe in Jacksonville. And this all started early this morning. St. Johns County deputies, they say Hatch was kidnapped at gunpoint during a home invasion on Great Harbor Way in Ponte Vedra. 2 men in camouflage apparently came inside with handguns and tied up 3 people who lived there. Deputies say they kidnapped Hatch at that time and then stole the homeowner's car. Nearby neighbors, they're shocked.
It just doesn't make any sense, and you know, this is a good part of town. It always has been.
So I just got up, a little bit ago, so I didn't hear anything. I just got my Amber Alert on the phone and saw the helicopter. Thought, what the heck is going on here?
And they're still looking for all of the suspects involved in this case tonight. Authorities believe 3 men may be in a stolen 2009 gray Subaru Legacy with a Florida Air Force tag of AKN6Z. So once again, that's AKN6Z. You can see it right there on your screen.
And tonight the search is on for a missing teen in Columbia County. Please take a close look at your screen. This is 15-year-old Kashawn Woodrow Ward. Police say he took off from a local youth facility near State Road 247 and Mayfair subdivision. He was last seen wearing a blue shirt, blue shorts, and a black leather jacket. If you know where he is tonight, please give police a call.
And listen to this, a Clay County inmate is back in jail tonight after being released under the wrong name. Deputies say she impersonated another person. Deputies say Jessica Ann Davis, the woman right there on your left, was bailed out of jail, but inmate Jessica Arnott was released instead. The sheriff says the only reason the mistake was caught was because Davis's mother actually spotted Arnott wearing her daughter's clothes in Green Cove Springs. Arnott now faces additional charges. Clay County has had several issues in the past, including arresting the wrong people with similar names and or descriptions.
A manhunt is intensifying for an accused cop killer in Orlando. Police now offering a $100,000 reward for information leading to his capture. A vigil was held last night to remember Master Sergeant Deborah Clayton. She was gunned down Monday morning outside of a Walmart. A sheriff's deputy was also killed in a crash while searching for the suspect.
All right, still coming up tonight at 11, an angry man kicked off a JetBlue flight out of Florida.
We can still speak in this country.
But this isn't just any man, it's actually a former senator. Up next, we're going to tell you what exactly happened here.
You got to stay up to see that. Plus, how safe is your technology? You're not going to believe how local family, what they say happened to them that left them feeling so unsafe inside of their own home.
And now increasing warmth and moisture. Which will you notice most? We'll take a look.
Stand up for what's right and walk out with me. That's the only thing they'll know. And that's what you should.
A former U.S. senator is outraged after being kicked off of that JetBlue flight that was out of Fort Lauderdale. And it all started when New York lawmaker, the former lawmaker Al D'Amato, started complaining about the airline's service. The JetBlue flight was delayed 6 hours. He says he was fed up, and it was the last straw when the airline asked people who paid extra for legroom to switch seats because of weight and balance issues. So his outburst prompted the crew to ask him to leave.
Wow. All right, I know a lot of you have some new technology around your home, and technology is supposed to make our lives easier. But what happened to a St. Augustine couple did not leave them feeling secure at all. They say their devices were watching and listening to them. So what can you do to protect yourself? On your side, Skinamero says this is a cyber attack you can prevent.
Turn on the nightlight.
Sorry, the device nightlight is not responding.
Tony Trippi loves technology.
And I've always been kind of a techno geek.
It's made his life easier until now.
It seems like now I can't depend on those devices.
December 30th, his technology revealed a vulnerability.
So I said, turn off the lights, and I heard a voice say, no, Alexa, turn on the lights.
He and his wife were stunned.
My initial reaction was that either someone was in the building with us, or if not inside the building, right outside the window.
It turned out that someone had hacked into his wireless security camera.
The cameras are designed to allow communication, two-way communication.
And that person was watching.
It was as if the person could see me.
And listening, and would reveal just how his wireless camera was vulnerable.
The voice said, you know, you should put a password on your camera. And then it hit me. I had not done that.
Trippy says he's since pulled the plug on his wireless security camera. Philip Graves is CEO of Anticin, a cybersecurity firm.
The idea of someone tapping into a wireless network or even tying into your home security or camera system is actually becoming a very common threat these days.
Graves says when using wireless technology, always create your own passwords. If you don't know how, hire a cyber expert.
You have to go the extra mile to put the right security in place.
He says, remember, with more technology comes more risks. Trippy has given up on his wireless camera for now.
Till my confidence level is raised. Alexa, turn on the desk light.
Okay.
Now, that security expert that you saw in the story, he says that this should be a reminder that when it comes to new technology, don't just focus on its convenience, but consider the security risk of the new technology. Let's talk about weather now. At least a dozen states from California to Minnesota are under some sort of winter weather alert tonight. This video shows just how bad things have gotten in Northern California. You can see a patrol car stuck in several feet of snow there. Storms have battered the western part of the country with rain or snow expected to travel east, now rolling into the Midwest. But once again, another reason to be thankful
glad we live in Florida.
that we live here.
I mean, look at that snow. That was piled high.
Indeed. Now, I must say, Truckee, California, that's near the resorts, and they like it. But, you know, I'm sure you don't have time for everything. You're agreeing that I don't have time to talk to you about.
You can talk to me about all you want.
No.
Take it away, Tim.
Here's a quick hint. Whenever you're talking about storms in California, that's a sign that the eastern half of the country will warm up. How so? Well, you saw Anthony talking about the snow in Minnesota, but how about the fact that rain today in Chicago? It's going to rain tomorrow in Boston and rain in Maine. But notice where the swirl of storm is, going deep down south. So it's kind of like a seesaw. If there's energy, and especially cold energy, dropping south on the west coast, that means the seesaw is going north on the east coast. In fact, there may be rain tomorrow as far to the north as southeastern Canada. So if it's warm there, you probably don't need me to tell you, well, we're going to be warming up here significantly throughout Florida and southeastern Georgia. In fact, I'm painting here the overall flow at about 15 to 30,000 feet. And we go up there because that tends to give us a longer term look at what's going to happen. And as long as this big, we call it the Greater Antillean Anticyclone, sits over us, as opposed to where the Greater Antilles, which are the islands of Cuba, Haiti, Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, then, polar and Arctic air are going to be a long way off. But that also tends to mean tropical moisture will be on the increase. Here it is, mostly over the ocean, and mostly it'll stay there. But we did see some showers today as far to the north as I-4, the Space Coast, and we'll call them sprinkles, but sprinkles will be working northward tomorrow. Isolated so, but they will still be there. Despite the fact, look at the beaches tomorrow, going to make it to 68 degrees, even though the surf temperature has dropped below 60. The barometer is still high, although falling, and that's a sign of the fact we're going to have more warmth than necessarily showers. Speaking of, many wonder when's the best time for paddling here on the First Coast? Not talking necessarily about surfing, but SUP, stand-up paddling, kayaking. Water's chilly, but because it's chilly, not as many boats, certainly not as many bugs. And because of the Clean Waterways Society, don't know who they are? Check them out. Doing neat stuff for the River City by the Sea. Here's how Duval, and actually how most of us will look tomorrow from northeast Florida through southeast Georgia. In fact, as we take a look at the next 7 days, notice the morning lows will continue to gradually moderate. That means, yeah, we can't rule out an isolated shower, and there will be an increase in morning fog, but overall, 70s, probably right on through the full moon on Thursday. Lucky, maybe, Friday, and even Martin Luther King Day on Monday.
Thank you, Timmer. Jaguars' new head coach Doug Marrone shaking up his coaching staff. Plus, the Florida State Seminoles were after their 12th straight win as they hosted Duke. Folks, we're pumping up the volume. Next in sports. Hello, everybody. As expected, new Jaguars head coach Doug Marrone is shaking up his coaching staff. Marrone cleaning out much of the coaching staff on the defensive side of the ball. Todd Wash will remain on as defensive coordinator, but many of the coaches working under him have been relieved of their duties. A couple of changes on the offensive side of the ball. Jaguars wide receivers coach Jerry Sullivan was let go. Sullivan spent the last 5 seasons with the Big Cats. He's been coaching for more than 4 decades and in the NFL since 1992. Marrone also dismissed the assistant wide receivers coach as well. Ponte Vedra head coach Matt Toblin nominated for the Don Shula NFL High School Coach of the Year award today. The Jaguars nominated Toblin for the national award. He was nominated for his character, integrity, leadership, dedication to the Jacksonville community, and his commitment to player health and safety on-field success. Toblin will be invited and recognized later this month during the NFL's week-long celebration of football at the 2017 Pro Bowl down in the Big O. Our top 25 showdown tonight in Tallahassee is number 9. F is going to miss it, but Kenya Jones says, I got you, cleaning up there. AC working it in the paint as well. Fundamental basketball. AC would go on to win a final 50-38. NASCAR is losing one of its best drivers to retirement. 37-year-old Carl Edwards is expected to announce his retirement at a news conference tomorrow. There is no immediate reason why the 28-race winner would step away from the sport that he's been a part of since 2004. His departure